Ugh. You know, if you watch Your Pickle, which is the video before this one, it explains a little bit about how I work for God and all that, and I touched on it a little bit in the video. And I think you should watch that before you watch this. So I would say this is part 2, if you want to call it that. But, now look, when you work for God, it's not an easy road. You know, if you're having an easy time or an easy road, you're not working for God. So I can just tell you that right now. So I'm not saying your life is bad, and I'm saying you can't do it, but it's different. I'll give you that. It's different. You're going to be very lonely, but you won't be lonely. I mean, you'll look alone. People will think you're lonely. People will think you're alone when you're not. You're with God. God's with me. God's in this room right now. But, you know, and you'll take the road less traveled. I never read it. I won't say I read it. I never read it. Actually, I had the book, but I never read it. I think I threw it away without reading it. I don't know. Back then I wasn't into book reading too much. I wish I read it, but I don't know if I ever will. But that's the road I've taken, is the road less traveled, you know. But, and I'm not saying you're going to have a bad life, you know, but you're not going to have a lot of friends. You're not going to live in a mansion. You're not going to drive a Ferrari, you know. For the most part, I mean, if you do, there'll be a reason for you doing all those things. And it'll be God's reason, not yours. You know, I'm here to shine a light on darkness, which is, if you watch my videos, that's what I'm doing. I'm planting seeds of doubt, seeds of redirecting your way of thinking, you know, teaching the blind, which is you, to see, which is me. You know, I teach you things you never thought of, put it in ways you never thought of, and open your eyes to ways of living that you never thought of. And, you know, it's a different life. It's a road less traveled. Perfect title. But, you know, it's just, look, if you want to live like everybody else, be like everybody else, turn off the video, because you'll do that. You don't need to watch this video. You don't need to watch any of my videos. So, you know, you want to stay a prisoner, a slave, I won't stop you. Turn off the video. You're a slave. Man, you know, and I'm not saying I'm going to free you. I'm not going to free you if you're a slave right now, but I'm not going to free you. You're going to free you. That's what I want. I freed myself with God's help. But you can do the same. That's all. I'm not going to tell you how to do it or what to do. I'm going to tell you what I did. I'm going to tell you the way it happened for me. Might happen the same way for you, but I doubt it. It's going to be different. But you'll be free. Yeah. But look, everybody's different, you know. You're so special in God's eyes. You are so special. You know, the fingerprint on your finger is unique to you. Nobody has that fingerprint. And you know how many fingers there are in the world. And nobody has that fingerprint but you. And if you don't like the fingerprint, go with the DNA. Yeah. Nobody in this world has your DNA. What's the results when they do a DNA test? 99.9999% correct. That's how unique your DNA is. So, why don't you think you're special? You're unique. You're already special. In God's eyes. You might look like another person, but you're not. Even though you look like them, you're not. So, because you might look like them, but you don't have their DNA, and they don't have yours. So, problem is, you're all sheep. You're all raised to be like sheep. Follow the one in front of you and stay in the group and do what the group does and act like the group members and, the little dog runs around and directs you into new pastures where there's better grass so you can eat and you won't starve. And they protect you from the wolves and the foxes. But, you don't have to be a sheep. You don't have to be a sheep. But you are. And it's not your fault. You were born, your mother was a sheep, your father was a sheep. So you're really surprised you're a sheep? I wouldn't be. But now my mother and my father, I don't know what they were. I know my father didn't raise me. And my mother didn't raise me. I raised myself. Maybe that's why I am the way I am. They want to, what they want to do with me is they want to copy me. They want someone else that they can control the look and sound and say the things I say, but won't say some of the things I do say because they don't like what I say, especially like what I said about the 2008 and all that. They don't want me talking about that, blowing up their plans and telling you what they're doing behind the scenes. They don't want that. They want somebody that can do all the things I do and not do the things they don't want me to do. And they can't do that with me, so they want to make a copy and have them be my clone, my robot, their clone. But it don't work. I'm not clonable. So I've had a much different childhood than anybody else. I never met anybody like me. That's why I'm single. Only because I want to be single, but I don't think I can relate to somebody on that level. I don't think I can be in a relationship because I don't have an equal out there. I don't have someone that's like me. And I don't want to marry or date a sheep. I don't like having sex with sheep. I'm a wolf. I've always been a wolf. And there aren't too many other wolves out there like me. So, when I die, it'll probably be the end of the wolves. But, yeah. I've been through hell, I worked for God, but I was a crackhead for 30 years. Of course, I quit for many of those years. May 11th, I'll have 9 years sober. I've had 8-9 years sober 3 or 4 times in my life. So I've been sober a lot. But I went through hell with drugs and alcohol. I'm not an alcoholic, but I don't like alcohol, thank God, right? I could drink, but I don't. I haven't had a drink in many more years than 9 years. So I was a big cigarette smoker, and I don't do that anymore. I used to smoke 4 packs a day. I got hypnotized and haven't smoked a cigarette since November 18th, 09. On 8 o'clock, November 18th, 09 was my last cigarette, ever. So I went from 4 packs a day to 0. And that was God. God did that for me. You know? So, but I learned a lot. I'm glad I did crack. I'm glad I smoked pot. I'm glad I did cigarettes. I'm glad I drank. I'm glad I hung out with those people that come with that crowd, that come with those substances. Taught me a lot about people and the devil and how they work, how they function, what they value. And I don't value anything they value. I don't function like they function. And I don't do those substances. So, but you know, the things I learned, you can't learn in a book. You can't learn in a classroom. You have to learn it on the street. And that's where I learned it. I learned it on the streets of Brooklyn, streets of Queens, streets all over. I've been to places in Brooklyn no white man goes. Not at 12 o'clock at night on foot. Like me, I took the subway to Brooklyn to get crack at 12 o'clock at night and walked around, didn't give a rat's ass. Nobody confronted me, nobody cared. And I wasn't scared one bit. And I got my crack. And I went home, took the subway home when I was broke, and that was it. So I've done a lot of crazy things. It's not all peaches and cream, you know. But God sent me there. God had me do those things. That's the fire that forged the steel that I am today. You know, I was going through fire. I was going through hell. The hellfire. I was walking through hell. But I was protected. I was shielded. You know. There were mornings I woke up with not $2 in my pocket. And by the end of the night, I spent $1,000 on crack, and I didn't have a job. You go figure that out. So, did I rob? Did I steal? Sure I did. I went crazy. I sold pots and pans from my mother's kitchen. I didn't care. I sold anything. But taught me a lot. Like I said, you can't learn that stuff in a book. You know. But and all those lessons, they weren't for nothing. They weren't for nothing. Yeah. I think you can tell from this video and from a lot of the other ones that I'm pretty calm. I'm pretty content. I don't look like I'm rushed. I don't look like I'm bored. I don't look like I'm unhappy. I'm pleasantly pleased. You know. I don't need a lot of people around me to feel happy. I don't need a lot of money to feel happy. I don't need a fast car to feel happy. You know. I like having toilet paper and some food and something to drink. Non-alcoholic. But, you know, my needs are basic and simple. I'm a simple man. You know the song? Simple man? That's me. And that's what God wants for me. He wants me to have a simple life. But I think he wants me to be on stage too, eventually. To do what I'm doing here, there. Maybe not an actual stage. Maybe this right here is my stage. Maybe this will be the only stage I ever see. I don't know. I don't care. If he wants me on stage, I'll go on stage. I can talk in front of people. I'm not afraid. Will I be afraid? Will I have stage fright? I'm only human, so I probably will. But I'll get over it. Most of the best stars have stage fright, you know. But they get over it. So, I mean, you can't look at the crowd and think, oh, I don't have that kind of ego. And yeah, for the most part, I'd be saying what comes off the top of my head anyway. I don't read from a speech. I'm not reading from a speech right now. I didn't think about what I'm going to say for hours before I did this video. I thought of a few ideas. Whether I bring them up or not, who knows? I probably won't. But, yeah. Life is very simple and very hard at the same time. And that's what makes it life. You know? I don't know. The hardness makes us stronger. The easiness makes us appreciate. You know, I appreciate my life. I went to jail. It's funny. I was a crackhead for 30 years and never went to jail. I've been sober for 9 years almost. I've been to jail 3 times. And the funny thing is, those 3 times I went to jail, I never broke the law. I never broke the law. So that doesn't mean you don't have to break the law to go to jail. I'm living proof of that. So, you know, I can't tell you how many psych wards I've been in. You know, when you think the way I think, and I'm not shy, as I think you can tell, and I tell the doctors what I think, and they label me mentally ill because I believe in God. You know, I'm mentally ill because I believe in God. You know, and I believe I'm Jesus. But prove me wrong. They can't do that. They can't prove me wrong. But so they give me medication. They also give me free money and free housing. So, not so bad. I don't have to work, and they can't make me work. That sounds like a deal to me. You know. But I'm not sitting there trying to convince them I'm Jesus. I'm not trying to sit there and convince them I'm not mentally ill. God has me on this road for a reason. I've learned a lot about the devil, and I've learned a lot about people from being in psych wards. I learned about doctors and the relationship with the patient and the medication and what it does to you and how they use it as a weapon. You know, it doesn't help anybody. None of the psych meds work, but they make a lot of money from the psych meds, so that's why they push them. That's why they force them on you, because you sitting there doesn't make them any money. They have to give you something so they can charge a company, and the company gives them a kickback for using their medication instead of somebody else's medication, so they make money off of giving you medication. So that's why they force it on you. It's all about money. It's the whole system, you know. And there's only so many mentally ill people out there that they have to take advantage of the ones they catch. It's like the mob. Once they get you in that system, it's very hard to get out. It's impossible to get out. So I gave up. I don't try to get out. I take their housing with a smile, and I eat my filet mignon with a smile. I don't care. So no doctor's going to say he's not mentally ill. So I don't have to worry about them taking anything away. They can't. So I don't think many people watch my videos and think I am mentally ill. I guess there's a few out there. I had a few out there that were pretty crazy. But I have a lot of videos, so 1 or 2 is not really that bad, I think. And it depends on how you look at it, you know. I mean, I remember one video I made with the hand sanitizer. I was putting it on my balls because I have major problems, and it burned like hell when you put it on your balls. But I was telling other people to do it because, you know, I still believe there's aliens, and aliens are around me, and you know, prove me wrong. You can't. So I thought the aliens had done something with parasites and stuff, and it turned out I had scabies. I really had scabies, I guess I was treating it with hand sanitizer, And when I went to the hospital, one of the times I went, they told me I had scabies. And they gave me cream and pills. I had to put a cream all over my body, and I had to do it like every day for like a week, and I had to sleep naked because I had to sleep with the cream on me, and I had to take a shower in the morning when I woke up to get the cream off of me, and the whole routine to get rid of the scabies. I don't know how I got the scabies, but I did, and that's what I had. I had scars on my body, still have scars on my body from it. Causes wounds on your body, and you pick at the scabs and stuff, and it causes a scar. So, was I crazy? I'm not a doctor. I don't claim to be a doctor. I don't play a doctor on TV. I didn't know it was scabies. Why, I was crazy because I thought aliens did it? I don't know. I still don't know how I got it. So maybe I was right. Can't prove it. But, I like the old joke that why don't the aliens talk to us? Why don't they contact us? And when you go to the zoo, do you talk to the monkeys? Do you contact the monkeys? Well, we're the monkeys to the aliens, that's all. They don't contact us, they don't care. This is their zoo. You live in the alien zoo. So, but, I don't know. A lot of unexplained things going on in this world, I mean, on 9/9/25, September 9th, 25, I was in Nassau County Jail, and I watched on Channel 7 World News, where, I don't know, it was a U.S. Air Force fighter jet. I don't know what, F-16, F-25, whatever it was, an F something, shot a missile at a UFO, an alien aircraft. Now, the missile just bounced off the aircraft, UFO, and blew up, I guess. The UFO just went on didn't even skip a beat. Didn't change its flight path, didn't come back, didn't go after us, just kept going like nothing happened. And the fighter jet stopped chasing it. And, was that fabricated? It looked like a real video to me. It looked like a real UFO to me, and I know it was a real fighter jet and a real missile. So, tell me I'm crazy. I don't know. Was the fighter jet crazy? Was the fighter pilot, was he crazy? So, was he really shooting it like a bug on his visor? And not a UFO? I mean, and the missile didn't blow up because of a bug on his visor. The missile hit something, but it had no effect. So, that's real. That's proof. Not proof for what I say, or the way I say the aliens operate and function in this world. And I know they do, because I work for God, and the aliens know who I am. They know I'm important. That's why they're around me. That's why they track me. They follow what I do. They listen to what I say. So I expose them. They don't like that. They don't like that at all. But they know that I'm labeled crazy because I expose them, so they're not threatened by it. They feel like anybody who was to believe me would also be labeled crazy. So they kind of have that thing going, But, like QAnon was talking how the elites rape children. Well, I don't know. Epstein's emails kind of prove that out. QAnon wasn't so crazy. I don't think QAnon was so crazy. And I said the aliens eat babies. And that's what QAnon said. So I didn't say it because of QAnon. I said it because of my own deductions. But QAnon said, like Hillary Clinton's eating babies and out of pizza places or something. I don't know. Whatever. I'm not so quick to say they're wrong. I like to think they're wrong, but I can't prove that they're wrong either. Just like you'd like to think I'm wrong, but you can't prove I'm wrong. And that fighter jet proved more that I'm right than that I'm wrong. So, and what's happened with the Epstein list shows that QAnon's right, somewhat. So, and we all thought QAnon was crazy. Nobody listened to QAnon. It was conspiracy theories. Don't listen to QAnon. They're crazy. They're just looking to score points. You know, but I say George Bush brought down 9/11, brought down those Twin Towers. So him and his army buddies or military manufacturers could have 2 wars in the Middle East, and you need a lot of bombs for Iraq and Afghanistan, and millions and trillions of dollars in bombs, and somebody's got to make them. So, and George Bush's best friends were the ones who made them. So 3,000 people in New York, and 2 buildings, and whatever the Pentagon will let. Small price to pay. Small price to pay. And I told you what he did about the mortgage thing. So George Bush was a scumbag, and that's why he don't talk no more. You never hear George Bush talking anymore, because he was a scumbag, and he knows it. He did really scumbag things when he was president. No different than Trump. The only difference between Bush and Trump is, Trump is known as a scumbag, and he always will be a scumbag. But, but you still elected him, so, Bush wasn't known as a scumbag, but Trump was. But you still elected him. So, kind of makes you kind of a scumbag, don't it? So, and there'll be another Trump. Don't worry. There'll be another Trump for sure. But whatever. There'll be another alien ship with an F-16 too. And again, you'll say, oh, that never happened. It was just an anomaly. Unexplained occurrence. Like a lot of the occurrences I talk about, they're unexplained. But they work. And they're real. So because you don't see an alien doesn't mean it don't exist. A lot of things out there you can't see. You can't see oxygen, but you don't fight everybody all day and lock people up because they say it's real. Oxygen is real. You wouldn't be alive without it, but you can't see it. So it's kind of along those lines. But like I said, when you work for God, you do weird things. You take a road less traveled. A lot of things happen to you that don't happen to everybody else. You see things that nobody else sees. God shows you these things. God put you in these places. So I wasn't happy to go to jail. I'm not happy to be locked up in a psych ward right now. But God has me there for a reason. When I went to jail, the one guy that was running the dorm that I was in, that was in charge of the dorm that I was in, the prisoner that ran everything in the dorm, was a very good friend of mine that I went to high school with. Coincidental. See, the devil wants to shut me up. But I went to high school with him. I got extra food, he gave me extra clothes, put on TV what I wanted to watch, got me newspapers. I mean, he hooked me up big time. Hooked me up with his friends that he was friends with and all that. So I had a good time in jail. It wasn't so bad. But that was God. God put in there. God made him the boss of the unit, boss of the cell block. So, look, I told you, I'm protected. God takes care of me. And I expect it. I'm not surprised when it happens. I expect it. So, as you should do. But if you work for the devil, you're not protected. You're lucky you make it to tomorrow. But you get what you deserve. Everybody does, including me. And I deserve a lot. And I'm going to get it. So, this is the longest video I ever made. It's going to take me an hour to upload it to YouTube. But it was worth it. And I know it got dark. because it got dark in my room. But I know you can still see me, and you're not worried about looking at me. It's my voice, it's my message. That's what's important, not what I look like. So, enjoy yourself. Try to work for God. Learn how to listen. He wants to talk to you. He tries to talk to you every day. He's not going to tell you the easy things to do. I jumped off a cliff at Montauk Point, broke my back in 2 places, broke my foot in 3 places, had to walk off a beach naked on a rocky beach, and it hurt like hell, but I did it, and that was just a test from God, and He'll put you through tests that will blow your mind. The crack thing was all tests, all the drugs, all the everything, all tests, and I passed them all. He's not going to give you anything unless He tests you first. And when you go to high school, you go to school, they give you a lesson, right? They give you a whole lesson, and then they give you a test. When you graduate school, and you graduate college, life in general gives you a test. And when you finish with the test, you learn a lesson. And that's the big difference. So go out there. Don't run from the test. Go right for the test, whatever it may be. But most things in your life, they're tests. And up until now, you've been failing them. So don't fail them. The hard way is the way you pass them. If you're looking to take the easy way out, you're failing. Have a good night.